I think we're live. Hi, I'm Sean Palmer with the Palmer Law Firm, and this is episode number 2 of our Facebook Live podcast, and we don't need the extra feedback. Um, okay, so let's see if we're still going. Yep, looks like our feed is still going. It is a bright sunny day. The weather is warming up, and everything seems right in the world, but um, we are just coming out of some brutal week, and we have some updates here today for you on that a little bit. In this episode, we're going to talk about the ability to sue the government, or more accurately, ERCOT, which is the company that regulates Texas's power grid. Today, we're also going to talk about the fact that today is National Love Your Pet Day. And in celebration of that, we're also going to talk about how to handle pets in a divorce. It'll be very emotional effect. So let's start out. Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Sean Palmer with the Palmer Law Firm. I've been practicing family law in the Houston, Galveston metro area for the last 19 years, exclusively in the area of family law. And we're just getting our operations started back up again after a brutal week of unprecedented winter chill here in the state of Texas. And yesterday's episode, we talked about whether or not you can sue the government for the brownouts, blackouts, zero outs of electricity that we had over the last week. Most of the state of Texas right now is currently experiencing power, although there's, as far as yesterday, there was still about 25,000 customers throughout the state of Texas who still didn't have electricity. And in our area here in the League City area of Texas, we are under a boil mandate in which we don't have any clean drinking water, and you have to boil your water for 2 minutes before it's consumable due to the low water pressure and other inconvenience. And many of my friends and neighbors have experienced some devastating property damage as a result of the loss of power and the freezing temperatures, and have flooded homes. I've seen some devastating videos of kitchens, just it looks like it's raining inside the house, and people scrambling to try to find water remediation companies to help them out, plumbing solutions, all kinds of things. So people are really still hurting out there. The property damage is yet to be assessed, and people are still angry, and they want to know what the remedies are, what they can do. And again, yesterday we talked about the fact that the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, or ERCOT, is a 501c4 nonprofit corporation whose mandate is to make sure that the power grid is sufficiently providing power to the consumers. And most people will agree that they failed spectacularly over the last week. Here at our offices, we had no power the entire time, and others had brownouts, and some people still don't have power. So people want to know what they can do about that. Well, just today, 2 separate lawsuits have been filed against ERCOT. And the question is, can you sue this quasi-government agency? In the past, ERCOT has claimed that they enjoy a thing we call sovereign immunity, which means you cannot sue the government under the Torts Claims Act in Texas. So, but however, this organization is run by for-profit entities who aren't elected by the people. So the Texas Supreme Court has said that they are going to be reviewing the applicability of the the sovereign immunity principle to this organization. And if the Supreme Court says that that you can sue them, well, we might just be seeing a flood of lawsuits. And so we saw 2 separate lawsuits filed yesterday against Electric Reliability Council, again, the nonprofit company that manages Texas Power Grid, and also against American Electric Power Company that transmits electricity throughout the state. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of a Corpus Christi resident, Donald McClary. And the suit charges that ERCOT and the AEP failed to maintain and winterize their infrastructure for the anticipated spike in energy used, and failed to take corrective action once systems started to fail, according to the lawsuit. So the lawsuit also points out that their failure also resulted in similar grid failures in 2011 and 1989, and it contests the sovereign immunity from claims that has protected ERCOT in the past. So we're going to watch that carefully and see whether or not that is allowed to proceed forward. And if it is, as I was saying yesterday, we might be seeing more lawsuits for property damages and other kinds of damages against this agency. Okay, moving on. It is National Love Your Pet Day. And a Gallup poll recently showed that 60% of Americans have pets. And I've seen other polls that say 2/3 of Americans have pets in their homes. Pets are a special part of our lives, and they really are a comfort to us, especially in trying times like these. And the things we've seen out there in the social media lately about animals being out in the cold and things just breaks everybody's hearts. So it's a good day for us to sort of think about how pets impact our lives and in a positive way. So if you have pets out there, give them an extra treat today. So in our law firm, we primarily handle family law and divorce cases. And to segue, there is often a question about what happens with pets when you're in a divorce. So I'd like to talk about how we handle pets in a divorce situation and what you can do if you have a pet that you somehow need to decide what happens if you're splitting up with your spouse. So it's true, and it's nothing new for me to say, that people treat their pets like their children sometimes. You hear the term fur babies, and people are very attached to their animals. And oftentimes they consider them their very own children. I've got a friend who has a stroller for her dog, and it's a unique bond. But in Texas law, however, pets are considered property. So when you are engaged in a divorce, no matter how emotionally attached you are to the animal and how much sentimental value the animal has to you, if it comes down to the court deciding what happens with your pet, the court is going to treat your animal as if it was just a piece of property, like your car or your computer or what have you. And that often makes it very difficult to decide what to do when you're engaged in a divorce, when everything is being split up. Who's going to get FIDO, and who's going to take care of the needs of the animal, and who's going to pay for that, and things of that nature. So again, we have to talk about the basic property issue in Texas in a divorce: community versus separate. Now, if you have your pet prior to coming into the marriage, and it's obviously going to be a marriage of short duration, and you've had the animal, then your pet may be considered your separate property. So if you own FIDO prior to being married, and now you're getting a divorce, FIDO will probably be awarded to you as your separate property. Can't divide it in the divorce. However, if you got an animal while you were married, under the inception of title rule, which basically means when you got it, if it was before the marriage, then it's separate. If you got it after the marriage, it's community. If you bought the pet while you were married, it's going to be considered community property, just like any other thing. And you have to somehow decide who gets the pet, or how are you going to handle that. Now, a lot of lawyers will just put this in the column of the property, put some kind of arbitrary price tag on the animal, and consider it a piece of property and divide it that way. But that's not the way it is for a lot of Texans. They consider their, as I say, they consider their pet their child. Now, we've experienced that in the past, and we've come up with more creative solutions other than either he gets it or she gets it, or what have you. We've come up with actual sort of custody arrangements in the final order, which have been fairly successful. In other states like California, they actually have custody laws about animals, much as we have for children here in Texas. But that's not the state of affairs here in Texas. In Texas, again, it's just going to be a piece of property. But you can come up with an agreement with your soon-to-be former spouse about how to handle the pet. I have had arrangements with the other party and put into decrees where the party, one of the parties had the primary custody of the pet, and the other had weekend visitations. They lived close by, wanted to take the dog to the park, things like that. And that seems to work out for them, and we treat them like we would for children. By agreement, it can be done. Also, there is the opportunity to co-pay for veterinary treatments and things like that. All kinds of creative things can happen if you get an attorney who's willing to take the time and effort to appreciate how important your animal is to you and fight hard both for you and for the best interests of your pet. So the trick is, of course, just to find an attorney who's willing to do that. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope you are back to or getting back to normal in your household. And if there's anything we can do here for you at the Palmer Law Firm, please let us know. If you get any comments about this broadcast, live or otherwise, please leave a comment below, and be safe.